So let's just get started here with a little bit about Diversified as an introduction, and that for those of you that are not familiar with us, Diversified's a global technology solutions integrator. And so what does that mean? It actually means quite a few things. And if you look at the slide up here, that gives you a pretty good representation of who we are and what we do. So today, technology means a lot of things, right? It could mean audiovisual or meeting space technologies. It could mean technologies for broadcast studios. It could be security systems, physical security systems, or IT technology. It could be digital signage and mission critical environments where they have large display walls for command centers, structured cabling. So there's a whole host of things that we do as a company that address the needs that our clients have out there in the various markets and industries. Happy to talk to you guys in more detail. If you want to reach out to us and learn more about the company, you can certainly go to the website too. It's a great resource, for more information about us. But we are a global company, and being the biggest doesn't necessarily mean we're the best, but it does afford us some luxuries that others in our industry space that they don't have, and that is our ability to work on customer projects across the globe. So it doesn't matter where the customer's headquarters is. We have 37 offices in the United States, and that's growing, and 13 internationally, at least at the time when this presentation was put together, and I don't know the date of that, so it could have grown since then. But needless to say, we do have a global footprint that can address the needs of our clients pretty much wherever the client is. And so, as we start getting into this conversation about things changing, Viewpoint's going to be at the center of this conversation today, and I'll explain to you in a minute what Viewpoint is and its relevance in the changing work environment. But like I was saying, it's an understatement to say things have changed, especially in the last 4 months, and they'll continue to change in the months and years ahead with the event of the pandemic that happened. But prior to that, we were seeing quite a few changes with requests from our customers all over the globe for us to provide a more simplified way for them to implement meeting space technology, to have that technology and the experience using that technology be seamless and easier, and to make the process of procuring or ordering the technology, having it installed, and maintaining that technology to be a more productive and efficient process. So really, at the end of the day, our customers are looking for better outcomes. In the past, and not to say that as we move forward as an industry and working in meeting spaces that there won't be complex meeting rooms, there certainly will. We see them today all the time where customers need a very specialized meeting space in a boardroom or briefing center that isn't going to fulfill the requirements of what the bulk of meeting spaces need, which seems to be, in terms of the trend, more simplistic in nature, in a variety of maybe up to 3 different types of functionality that might be out there. And so we're going to talk more about that with Viewpoint. But again, the whole idea of our conversation today is to expose you to some tools that we've created that help to simplify standardizing technology for your organization as it relates to meeting space technologies, and streamlining the procurement process and making it easier to budget for these types of rooms. If you have projects that need meeting space technologies that allow you to quickly and very effectively create estimate or what we call a rough order of magnitude budget that can get you really close to what a final number would be. And there are always things that, you know, you have to account for that you can't in some software application. That could be, you know, taxes, union labor, or, you know, shipping costs and things. There are a few variables, but we can get really close to an exact number with this new tool that we have called Viewpoint. And so, you know, the best way to show Viewpoint really is to actually go to our website and demo that product for you. And we're going to do that in just a minute. But what I'd like to do is just give you some highlights of Viewpoint in the sense of, you know, what is it actually doing and bringing to you. So if you see on the right side of the slide, Viewpoint tool, this is a little snapshot of what you'll see in a minute on the demonstration. And it is, again, it's a browser-based tool that allows our customers and clients to go and select up to, I think we're up to about 47 different types of rooms that are split up into, if you look over here to the right, room size, which would be the number of people in a room. It could be the functionality, and the functionality is split up into 3 different types of functionality, from a basic to an intermediate to a little bit more advanced, but certainly not something that's highly complex and customized in nature. Our rooms, it can include video platforms such as capabilities with WebEx or Teams or Zoom and things like that, Skype meeting rooms, and I'll go through that in a minute as well. But you know, this is what we're going to be getting into, is using this platform as a way for you to improve the processes that you have when you need to order meeting rooms and or establish budgets for these rooms that you may be designing in a new space that you're creating, working with an architect on. So some of the benefits of utilizing a tool like this is, you know, we always talk about saving time and saving money. Well, this is sort of better, more affordable, faster, right? So, you know, the whole idea that we want to present is delivering a consistent and repeatable experience to a customer. So when your users use a space in one city, they go to a different city, could be across the world or just in a, you know, different part of the same city, their experience using that technology in those meeting spaces is the same. We want to be able to do this in a way that is cost effective and very easy for your teams to have deployed within the spaces that you have. So simplicity is at the heart of everything we're doing with Viewpoint. And again, we try to drive these predictable outcomes, which, you know, again, at the end of the day is really going to save time and money if you can create processes and tools that just, you know, make it easier for people to standardize on equipment and to select solutions that work for them in these meeting spaces. So that being said, what I think we should do is just really kind of dive down into what the Viewpoint tool is on our website. And if you just give me 2 seconds here, I'm going to get out of this for right now and close that out. And we will go over here to our website, and I'm already logged in. So the way that you would do this, if you go to our website, you're going to see these tabs up here. You're just going to go to specialty, audio visual, and then you'll go over to Viewpoint. When you click on Viewpoint, it will ask you, if you're not a registered user, it will ask you to register, and it's just a simple, you know, name, email address, and things like that, just so that we can get you a login, a password, so that you have your own kind of personal experience with this. Once you do that and you have that, and then you go to log in, it will save your password so that you can just have immediate access. And then this is what you'll see. Once you've accessed the browser, Viewpoint browser, you will see this is the dashboard, let's call it. So again, following with the theme of keeping things simple and repeatable, all of these are pre-designed, pre-engineered rooms, meaning that we took, I guess it's been probably about a 3 or 4 year usage, if you will, of where do we see the trends of customers in terms of the meeting space requirements that they have. There are trends and there's data out there that we looked at that suggested that a high percentage of our customers did not need the complex rooms. They needed certain functionality. And so what we did was we designed these rooms to have all of the engineering, all of the labor pre-calculated and embedded behind this in the engine that's driving this, so that we can create, if you will, a cookie cutter, right, of these rooms that can be repeatable and deployed very, very quickly and easily. So behind each of these images, and I'll click on them in a minute and walk you through it, but behind each one of these, you know, are equipment lists and labor calculations, warranty calculations and information, and things that we've thought a lot about that will again fall into the categories that we talked about right up here of, you know, the size of rooms and what type of functionality that you want in that room. So again, about 47 or so rooms that we have, and so let's just do this. Let's use the filters here. We've got a couple of filters over here. You can sort these rooms by title or pricing, and you can also sort them by the number of rooms that are listed on a page. I have all of them listed right now. If you don't want that many, you don't have to have that many. And then we have, you know, collaboration or application, right? And then room sizes. You can have 4 to 6 person, 7 to 10, 11 to 14, or 15 plus. And then you would look at, you know, the collaboration platform. If you need a video conferencing experience in the room that you're selecting, then this is where you would select what that is. And so I'll walk you through that part here in just a second. So if we do application, right, it'll pull up all the different applications that are out there. And then we do collaboration, it'll pull up all the collaboration rooms. And that's where we come into, let's pick like a 4 to 6 person room. And let's say that we use WebEx. There are 2 rooms that we've pre-designed, pre-engineered around that requirement. So if, for example, I decide this is the room package that I would like to look at and possibly order, or at least try to create a budget for, at a glance, it tells me what I get in that room, right? All the way down to, if you look here, it's a single 55-inch flat panel. The control is a Cisco Touch 10 control. If you go down further, you see options. So, for example, if I wanted to upgrade the 55-inch to the 65-inch, I'd merely just click on the box, and you saw that. If you didn't click on it again, it automatically changes for you. So now this is just at a glance, and I have a few options that allow me to, you know, kind of further progress my buying experience, if you will, or the budgeting experience. I can also, if I know I need more than one room, I can, you know, add or subtract the rooms there. And while I'm here, if I want a little bit more detail about what I'm getting, then I do have access to a data sheet. And the data sheet is a really neat tool that gives you a deeper dive, if you will, into what that room is all about. So we won't go through all the details of this particular room, right? But I'd suffice it to say there's a lot of information that would be helpful to you as you're looking through trying to make sure if this is going to meet the requirements that you have. So going back, let's go back there. So in addition to the data sheet, we also are providing infrastructure drawings. So we have had a lot of requests from our customers that when we're in early stage budgeting or when they're working with their architect or contractor, there seems to be a early on requirement to try to establish, where would I put this monitor on the wall? Where do I put the camera? Where do I need to have power? Do I need to have conduit running here? Do I need a core or trench in the floor? There's a lot of questions that start coming up. And so what we've done is we've included a first level, if you will, system drawing, a diagram of what it is that your architect may need so that they can understand, requirements they would have within that room they can include into their drawings. And then the last thing would be it's a deeper description of the options that you have there. You could dive into that as well, and it'll explain a little bit more about the options available. So kind of recapping before we go on is, again, after I clicked on this on the main dashboard, what we've had here is a glance at what I'm getting, the option that I can select other pieces to this. I can add more rooms of the same type, and I can access data sheets, drawings, and upgrade options. So now let's just assume, for the sake of our call today, that I just need one of these rooms, and so I want to see I want to add that to my budget, if you will. So think of this as a very similar process to adding something to a cart when you're on an Amazon shopping experience, right? All you're doing here is adding this particular room to the cart, and the cart in this case is a proposal, right? It's a budget proposal. So if you added the estimate, which I did, this is what you see, right? So we've got one room, and it's the Rainier 63 SW and the price. And so let's say, I need more than one. I do need 2 rooms. I can do that, and I can update my estimate, and you'll see all the pricing and everything changes. If I go, well, yeah, they said they really didn't want that room. We just finished the meeting. I want to update it. So we go back and we can change this on the fly, right? So it's really that simple to use this tool and to allow you to create budgets, to order these rooms from this platform, because these will actually come straight to us if you wanted to place an order. So that's in essence what we are doing with Viewpoint. And I'm going to stop for just a minute and Tammy, ask you if any questions have come in.
Yeah, we've got a couple, Robert. One of them is around a client is asking if they have their own standards. So these are the standards that Diversified has built, but if they have their own developed standards, how can they, is this something they can use, or can they engage with us in that way?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, actually. So that kind of would take us to the next part of the conversation, which would be Viewpoint is really 2 products in one. There's a Viewpoint and a Viewpoint Plus. And so the Plus designation of Viewpoint is really the customized version of this tool that I've just shown you here. And what that means is that, for example, we have several of our customers, and I don't think I can mention their names on the call, but well, let's just take one that's a private jet, corporate jet manufacturer, and world renowned, but they wanted to leverage this platform for their internal use, and they wanted to be able to make this available to their thousands of employees around the world and their facilities managers and folks in IT when each of their offices need to do upgrades or add rooms and things like that. So what we did was they contracted us to customize this portal or the browser experience with their logo. So we took our logos and all of our information off, and we changed the room names, and the engine behind this and what supports all of this was changed with the products that we may have here that you see today with their standards. So, instead of it being a Sony display, maybe it was an NEC display that that company had standardized on. So it can be customized if a customer has an interest to have us work with them to create this as a, call it a proprietary solution for their business. So I hope that answered the question. I know that Tammy, you're involved with some of this as well. If you want to add to that, feel free to do so.
Yeah, no, that was very helpful. And the only thing I would add to that is it is a secure portal for them. So only their users can log in and access their rooms, their pricing, their information. So yeah, that's good to know. The other question that came up from a client is related to Viewpoint, but it says, what if I like a couple of the room systems, but I want to slightly change them? Is that possible?
Well, I guess it would depend on what slightly change means. You know, so the answer would be yes, you know, but I couldn't answer it unless I knew exactly what it was that they wanted to slightly change. We want to accommodate and be as flexible as we can with how a customer would use this, but at the same time, it's designed to bring a certain set of functionality and processes to the table that need to be to some degree repeatable and rigid. So when I say the word rigid, I don't want that to sound like there's no flexibility, because there would be flexibility, but it would depend on what that is.
Right. Another question is around once this is submitted and the estimate is saved, what happens? Does the person receive information diversified, and how does that flow?
Yes, both.
Yeah.
Yes, both. And that's been your experience too, right, Tammy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I know for a while there was just one getting it, and I think we modified that. Now it's both.
Yeah. Yeah. So the end user who submits the estimate request receives a copy of the documentation and the quote number, and then also a diversified contact will receive that and follow up with them to learn more about the space and assess what needs to happen next.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, that's pretty much it right now on the questions. So I think we're looking good.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because the next part of what I was going to talk about was the Viewpoint Plus. So given that that question came up, I'm kind of struggling whether I should really kind of go back over that. You know, but maybe I will just try to do it in a little different way. But just to reiterate, I guess more than anything is that, you know, what is being shown today is really the diversified viewpoint tool. And that's an experience that anybody can access through our website. It's a browser-based experience, right? And you can just log into and do what I just showed everybody, to place orders, to establish budgets, and try to get their head, if you will, around the requirements that they may have for meeting spaces in a project that they have coming up. Now, that being said, if there's a company out there that has a lot of and a frequent need for adding rooms to different offices around the country or around the world, and they want to have this for their internal use for their users, we can customize that. And again, remove logos, remove room names to create unique room names for the customer, and standardize on their product sets that they have, that they use, so that that then becomes their own secure portal that just their team has access to.
Right. Oh, that's great. Okay, well, I'm not seeing any other questions. If anybody has a question, go ahead and put it into the Q&A quickly and we can address it. If not, we can wrap it up. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
I think.
Crickets must mean that I've put them asleep, or we did a really good job, and there's no more questions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we will communicate back out to everybody who's registered and attended today with a video link and further information. And of course, you can reach out to your diversified representatives.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert, for your time. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Yeah, no, thank you, everybody.